It just said stream is live now.
I didn't hit the go live thing. Well, they changed StreamYard. All right, hey guys, we're back. Hey.
We never left, huh?
Yeah, we never left, but we've been carrying on a great conversation for the last few minutes.
I guess that's what Prospectors Cash meant by that clock there, Ron.
Yeah, I was going, what the heck? So I hit the go live, but they have 2 go live buttons on this thing now, and that's changed. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're here. We're live, and we're with Mr. Mike. That's okay. That was just practice, right?
That was right.
That was practice to get us ready for what we're really going to do. Hey, we're so excited that you guys are here. And again, thank y'all so much. Well, you know, people were still asking questions, though. That was what was so funny.
Right.
So anyway, hey, we're live and we're here. We've got Mr. Mike Howell from LMS Metal Detecting. He's our preferred dealer. And we've gone through a conversation on our own actually before this. So this is great. But anyway, glad to have you guys here. Welcome to the show. We've got Mr. Mike Howell from LMS Metal Detecting. We've got Mr. NC Relic Hunter over there, which you guys know, and I'm pointing to the I never can get that right.
Pointing the wrong way.
Yeah, I always point the wrong way. But hey, we're glad you guys are here. Thank y'all for joining in on a Friday night. This is going to be a great show. We've already had a little conversation for about the last 15 minutes. 20 minutes, really. Right. And nobody said anything. That's what was so funny. So, but anyway, but that's okay. We're glad you guys are here. Thank y'all for joining in. And again, this is going to be a great show. We've got Mike Howell from LMS Metal Detecting. We'll do our shout outs real quick. Just a few. Glad to have everybody here. We got Mr. Old Pelon. We got Mr. Tesh Ridge Digger in the house. Mr. Damian Thorne. Mr. Diggin Darrell's here with us. We've got Trevor Van Horn in the house with us. Glad to have Trevor. Mr. Keegan's in the house. Great supporter of the channel. Mr. Surfside Dan. I wish Dan would have texted us, but anyway. Mr. Surfside Dan. Mr. Sniff It Out. We've got Mr. Ferris Grump. Glad to have him in the house. Appreciate that. Mr. Gary and the Goose. Glad to have Gary and the Goose. Mr. LC Hunt is with us. Michael, I missed LC Hunt on the last go-around, but I'm glad he's here. Always a great support of the channel. Flowers, Blooms, Ocean 9 is in the house. Glad to have them with us tonight. Mr. Ricky Bennett. Mr. Ferris Grump's in the house. Glad to have him. Mr. Workman's Adventure. We got Mr. Lance McElwain. Glad to have Lance in here with us tonight. Relics and Rings, all the way from way out west. Glad to have Relics and Rings. Detecting Adventures, Miss Aggie Hall is in the house with us. We've got, I'm trying to go through this quick, guys. Let's see who I missed. Key Date Kid from Excalibur Shovels is in the house. Glad to have Key Date Kid with us. We've got Bells in the house. Glad to have Bells. Glad to have Buzzsaw in the house. Good evening, Buzzsaw. Andrew Paul from all the way in New York. Glad to have them here with us. Mr. Diggin Dude from New York is in the house. Mr. Richard Pelkey. Glad to have Richard with us. Mr. Brian Thomas is in the house. Glad to have Brian. And we got Mr. Prospectors Cash. So now I know what the stopwatch meant. Glad to have Prospectors Cash. Mr. Detect Meister all the way from Ireland is in the house with us. Appreciate him being here. Johnny Rum is in the house. Glad to have Johnny. Gary Hulls is in the house all the way from Oregon, Mike. We got people all the way spread out all over the United States here tonight. We've got Mr. Tim Silver in the house. Glad to have Tim. Detective 925 is with us. We got a lot of people in here, even though we screwed up on the beginning, but that's okay. That's all right. The History Digger is in the house. Mr. Rob. Have Rob. Greeny Meanie is in the house. He's laughing out loud, I guess, because we were late. And then 5 Mile Relic Hunter says, there's the boys. Yeah, we're here. We're here. Loud and proud. We appreciate you guys joining in. And I don't think I missed anybody. I think I got everybody. But we have 40-some people in here ready to rock and roll. And again, we got Mike in the house. Mike is from LMS Metal Detecting. If you have not checked out Mike's site, you need to do so. We're going to add that to our stage. Mike has a great and fantastic site that you see here. Go check him out. His information is scrolling across the bottom. He's got everything and anything metal detecting related. You guys are going to love his site. He is one of the most knowledgeable people, as far as I know, that really knows these machines, knows accessories, knows everything about these manufacturers. He's an excellent wealth of knowledge. So you definitely want to check Mike out and get some orders into Mike, because I'm telling you, he provides service after the sale and is just a wonderful person to deal with. Fast, friendly service, and you'll get it from Mike. And we got Mike down at the bottom, and we're going to hear from Mike. Mike, tell us real quick. You've already done this, but tell us a little
Deja
bit.
vu.
Yeah, deja vu. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike, and tell us how you got into metal detecting and a little bit about your dealership and what got you started with the dealership.
Sure. You led me into a quite a reputation here to fill all of a sudden of my wealth and knowledge and everything.
Yeah, now look, you're welcome.
We sure try. Let's put it that way. But, yeah, LMS Metal Detecting. It's been around for a long time, but recently, in the last 5-7 years, we started selling metal detectors as well, as I mentioned a minute ago. But you couldn't see me then, Brian. But but we've been doing it a long time. We try and give the best deals we can to everybody. And right now, some of the most popular machines that are selling, obviously the DS2. Everybody loves the machine. The Manicore, $500 off. My lab is running that sale again through the month of April. It will end April 30th. We don't know if it's going to be back again. Originally, Mind Lab said for their anniversary they were going to do it 1 month. Well, since then they've done it quite a few months. So we got a feeling this will be the last time we'll see the $500 off Manicore for quite some time.
Wow,
Ever.
that's a great price too on that machine, Mike.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And people that were getting 25% off accessories last month, Mind Lab was doing really good on that. So accessories was big last month. We sold a lot. Metal detectors actually took second place to all the accessories going out as well. And that's not just Mind Lab. That was Nocta as well, and XP. A lot of people are still getting XP stuff. But obviously right now those are about the most popular metal detectors that people are really getting into, that Deus 2 and the Manicore. But with that being said, we've got something new that came out here recently that we've kind of been waiting on to be released. Was the Vortex VX5 and the VX7. They are in stock. So we've got those now. Price ranges on them are let's see here. The VX7 is 539 or 534.99, and the VX5 is 449.99. And remember, folks, those metal detectors are upgradable. So if you decide to get in on the VX5, you can obviously upgrade it to the 7 or the 9. And that is on Garrett's website, garrett.com. If you decide to do an upgrade on it later on, which I imagine most people will, if they get in on the mid grade or the starter, the VX5, that sort of thing. And I had seen on one of the previous videos, we were talking about coils possibly coming out for the Vortex series. Those coils have been listed, but they're not available yet. And there are several different coils for it. The 5x8 Ripper coil, the 6x11 Viper coil, the stock coil, 8.5x11 Raider coil, and the big coil, the 14x11 Reaper coil. Those coils will be coming out soon. We're waiting on Garrett. Now that they've released the VX5 and the VX7, we should start seeing them roll out pretty quick with those, I would think.
Right.
So, yeah.
And guys, we have got a couple of videos, and I know most of you know this, but we got a couple of videos up with the VX9, and it's a solid machine. And Michael's had the chance to use it. I've had the chance to use it. Mike's gonna get out and use it, I'm sure. And again, Mike now has all 3 of those versions in stock. So if you're interested, you can definitely hit Mike up for a Vortex, either the VX5, the VX7, or the VX9. And Mike mentioned too that the MyLab Manicore at $12.99 is just an outstanding price. And so you know, if you're interested in a Manicore, I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and see about getting it, because again, we don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. We don't know what's going to happen, you know, down the road as far as all these imports are going. But again, if you're going to get one of those Manicores, now's the time to do it while it's at that price. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
I agree 100%. And by the way, as we're talking about getting new devices, we're talking about the VX series Vortex. Uh, we are running a sale on them. If anybody watching tonight decides to buy one or think they might want one, we have set up a code for you to get 10% off. And the product code that you put in, the discount code, would be SRA to receive a discount on that metal detector,
Right.
and it does ship free.
So there you go, Greeny Meanie. If you want to find one cheaper, then put in SRA for the code and
That's
buy
right.
a Manicore from Mr. Mike Howell from LMS Metal Detecting. And you'll be able to get one of those machines at a pretty good discount. So thank you, Mike, for doing that for us. And again, SRA code 10% off, and Mike is offering that to our subscribers and viewers. So if you're interested in that, you definitely want to get that. We also know too, since we're talking about all of this, is that XP has said that they're going up by 20%. So if you're going to buy an XP Deus 2, now might be the time to buy that Deus 2 before the tariffs hit, because the last shipment of stuff without the tariffs has left France and it is on its way to the United States. But the next shipment of product that's coming is going to have that tariff and that 20% tacked on to it. So if you're thinking about a machine and you're on the fence, you might better go ahead and pull that trigger, because that could be huge for you if you're looking at a machine or looking at other things, a new coil or whatever it may be, because those tariffs are going to hit at some point, and the price of those things can be going up really, really soon. So those are things to keep in mind. So let's see here. Prospectors Cash says support your independent dealer. They are, and Mike is an independent dealer, and he is the backbone of the metal detecting industry, really. You know, dealers are very, very important. You know, don't buy from a big chain. Buy from somebody like Mike or somebody local that you can go to and you can talk to. Again, you buy from a big chain, you're not going to get service after the sale. You're just getting the machine and that's it. And that's the one thing that Mike does, is he provides service before and after the sale. He's not just sending you the machine and that's the end of your relationship with him. And he's hoping that you'll come back and buy more stuff from him, right, Mike?
That's right. And tell all your friends.
Yeah. So so some people want to know, Mike, are you taking any new orders for the Deus 2 HF coil? There you go.
We get a lot of questions about, every day I'll get anywhere between 2 or 3 calls about that coil, wanting to know if we have it in stock, if we have a waiting list, when's it going to be released, some of the ins and outs with it, what frequencies, how high are the frequencies going to be, and we'd really like to be able to answer some of those questions. So we got to get Philippe on the ball here
Yeah.
and release a little more information on it, maybe.
Well, we got a little bit of information the other night from Philippe, but he's real tight-lipped. You guys know I talk to Philippe on a regular basis. He's pretty tight-lipped about a lot of this stuff. So we did find out that the battery is going to be up in the shaft. That was the one thing that I think a lot of people were wanting to know. Where's that battery going? So he did say that the battery would be up in the shaft. But as far as everything else, that's pretty much it. Thank you, Johnny Rum. We appreciate that. A live discount, SRA. If you go to Mike's store and punch in SRA, you're going to get a discount. And
that discount's just for the Vortex series right now.
Just for the Vortex series.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it ends at midnight tonight. But you can obviously email me, contact me. We'll look after you.
Yeah, if you contact Mike, Mike's going to look out for you for sure. Joe Dirt says 12. He gave a good donation tonight, $12. He says he included his tariff. Thank you so much, Joe Dirt. I appreciate that so much, and you guys are awesome as always. And this is why I love coming on here with you guys. It's just fun for sure. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about sand scoops because we've got some beach hunters on here. Tell us a little bit about what sand scoops you have to offer, a little bit about titanium because we hear that quite frequently. Hey, I want a titanium scoop. What can you share with these guys and tell them a little bit about sand scoops for the beach?
Well, a lot of people, when they're starting out beach hunting, they'll generally either just use a standard shovel or, God forbid, they're down on their hands and knees with, a hand scoop. And
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you, that can be really tough on your back. So we try and make them uh, as easy to use as possible. In other words, the angle of approach. So when you're getting ready to dig a hole, you're not leaning way forward, or vice versa. Some of them are actually designed backwards, uh, so you're like chopping into the sand. But titanium versus stainless steel. Obviously, titanium is a lot more expensive, but much, much lighter and stronger as well. Not that really strength is an issue with a lot of the stainless steel scoops, for example. Size, there's a lot of different sizes. Holes dimensions, 10 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 7 millimeter, combined different size holes. So there's a lot of options there. Even carbon fiber handles, fiberglass handles, two-piece handles. Obviously, you guys know all the options,
yeah,
but we try and build the Pro Fortis scoop as heavy duty as we possibly can. Now, are they indestructible? Probably not. No.
right.
I think the only ones we really had damaged, as far as I know, or a breakage would be somebody actually really trying to overpower a scoop by prying up a stop sign buried with a bunch of sand, or leaving it behind your truck, or running over it when you're leaving the beach. That's happened a few times too.
Right. Yeah.
But we actually we did cover one of those with damage. They told us what happened. We shipped them out another one. But anyway, they're really good scoops. They are. But yeah, the lighter the weight, the better generally for the beach. My goal when I'm out on the beach is to go as lightweight as possible. I don't even carry a pinpointer when I'm beach hunting. So light
Yeah.
titanium
I
is the
rarely I rarely use my pinpointer. I mainly just kick the sand. I think you
yep,
do the same thing. We kick the sand a little bit after we get it out, and
yep.
then just swing over it till we know we got it out. So, Mike, what about width and size of scoops? What do you see people mainly using as far as that goes?
Uh, our middle size, about 7 inches, 6 inches wide, is about the most popular. The CMX series is carbon fiber. Those are one of our most popular scoops, and I consider it to be a medium-sized scoop. Where some folks would actually look at it and say, "That's small." It's really not small. It's a medium-sized scoop with 10 millimeter holes and 7 millimeter holes in it as well. But
Right.
you got to be careful out on the beach with your back sometimes. If you've got a big, big scoop and you're really getting down in there in that wet sand, especially with a vacuum as well as you're trying to pull that sand scoop back out, you got to be careful not to rupture a disc in your back. So we always try and steer people to the medium sized scoops. And we tell them there's no reason to try and get the target out with two scoops. If it takes three or four, lighten your load a little bit. That way your
Yeah.
back's not hurting you at the end of the day, even if you got to
Right.
run one more
Yeah,
scoop
that's
to get
good
to the target.
advice.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely,
yeah.
definitely. So, Mike, the titanium versus the stainless steel. I mean, I know you just sort of alluded to a little bit of this.
Mhm.
The titanium naturally is lighter, and those titanium scoops, though, they hold up pretty well too. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they sure do. But the thing is weight with the titanium. You know, a lot of people would talk strength and durability.
Right.
Yeah, they're stronger steel. It's a stronger scoop, but you're really not going to even have a problem with one of the stainless steel scoops. Most of the time, titanium is more about the weight than it is the strength of the scoop. And people are really surprised when they start picking them up and realize exactly how much weight the weight is there. Generally, you look at about a little over 2 pounds, give or take, the size of the scoop, or the handle is mounted on, whether it's fiberglass or carbon fiber. But right now, all of our titanium scoops are all mounted on carbon fiber.
Oh,
One piece handles fixed together. Anytime you need the scoop, it's ready to go. You don't have to put it together. You don't have to worry about the handle falling out, getting loose, or any of that. And the grips are very important with a scoop. Nice, big, heavy grip that's at least 12 inches, 13, 14 inches long makes a big difference when you're working that scoop in the sand
right.
out there. So,
So
So
one of my friends on here, CZ Digger, says titanium has had cracking issues. I understand, but have you seen any of that, Mike, at all?
we actually designed a scoop that had a big tongue on it, and it shows out of stock online right now. But our problem was is we didn't have a bridge on the back of it, and the titanium was breaking in between the welds that brace up from the handle go to the back of the scoop where the holes started. And since then, we had I don't remember. I think we had about 17 or 20 of them that broke relatively quickly as well. They weren't out on the beach that long before we started seeing some problems with them. And we should have held back on those units and tested them more,
Right.
but we just assumed they'd be good to go. We really shouldn't have done that, but we did learn real quick that bridge line across the back of that scoop, but that makes a big difference.
Right.
So
Yeah. And you
later,
guys can tell just from listening to Mike. Mike knows his scoops. He's been really heavily involved with um, designing scoops and making sure that scoop was the type of scoop that really suits our area especially. And Mike does a fantastic job of making sure that he only carries stuff that really can hold up to what it's meant to hold up for. So again, you can tell Mike knows his stuff as far as scoops go, and
So Mike,
great.
I know you rent machines, for people that want to come down and beach
yep.
hunt. Do you rent the scoops as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Because all of our rentals, we will rent them out for relic hunting, coin shooting as well, but 99% of all the rentals are actually for the beach. People just coming into town, that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely, the scoop goes out with a metal detector. They sure do.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's one and the same.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've actually surprised quite a few renters here lately. Remember that scoop I told you that we kind of did a recall on?
Yeah.
We actually patched some of them up, welded them up. About a $350 titanium scoop. We're actually sending those out now with rental units as well. So a lot of people are really excited to get a really nice titanium scoop to include with the rental as well. So they get their lightweight scoop, and that's always a plus too.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What about what kinds of shovels and things do you sell, Mike, as far as the things that you have in stock? I know you can order just about anything, but tell us
Yep.
a little bit about shovels and things that you have.
Well, we've got a large variety of them, but for the most part, we're actually having some problems getting a few things in that have been on back order. Right now, we still have plenty of the Garrett edge diggers in stock, and that's 36-inch edge digger as well, plus the handheld 12-inch units. We've got those as well in stock. Those are about the most popular ones that go out. The Anaconda,
Hmm.
we've got very few of those left in stock, and we're waiting on more of those to come in. It's one of our heaviest shovels, if you will, as far as weight goes, durability, that sort of thing. They're very difficult to bend or tear up.
Right.
Yeah,
One of our viewers, Mr. Prospector's Cash, says he likes hunting with a heavy scoop in chest deep water just so the scoop doesn't get pushed away. If it's titanium, it's lighter.
yep.
So I mean, I'm sure you got heavier scoops too to meet that kind of need as well, right, Mike?
We do. We actually have scoops that we call shell bed scoops or real tight angle of approach on them. and they're much heavier. And those scoops actually are fairly popular as well. We start seeing those sell when you start seeing a lot of shell beds on the beach. Some of the guys will be like, "Wow, some of these other scoops are kind of hard to cut in through that real thick shell bed," so they'll come in and look for a different scoop as well.
Right, right, yeah. And so tell us about. I mean, I know you rent out a lot of machines. What's your number one seller, possibly, or number one rental, as far as going out on the beach? What do you see a lot of people leaning towards?
Well, we don't rent out the high end Manicore, the DS2, because a lot of times people are pretty rough on equipment.
Right.
So
Yeah, definitely.
try we try and keep it down the middle of the road. So a lot of times we're renting out the Xterra Pro, we're renting out the Elite, that sort of thing. Uh, the the well,
Plus, they're a little easier to learn, I imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
they are. Because a lot of folks, we have to show them, how to
Right.
use the metal detector as well. So there's a learning curve, obviously with a much more advanced metal detector. But a lot of people are just really looking to have some fun. So if you get them something that works, is stable on the beach, where they're going to find targets, they're pretty happy. But I believe we're still. I'd have to look on the website, but we had two 600s go out
Right.
last
Right.
week, Equinox 600s, but we were looking at putting some of the Equinox 800s for this summer. We haven't listed those yet. So
Right.
that'll probably be the highest we go with Equinox 800 as far as rentals. Because remember, we do have to require a deposit for a lot of these machines that go out. But
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
expect you just to let it go out and not get anything for it in case these people damage these things.
Well, sometimes
So
they get lost in the trunk of cars, so we got to be careful to make sure we have a deposit.
yeah.
But generally speaking, if we have somebody that's coming out of town and rent from us one time, we form that relationship. We know them. We're not worried that they're going
Right.
to walk off with a metal detector. So we'll take that deposit and actually waive it very often. So
Right.
yeah,
Thank you, Prospectors Cash, for that super chat. Super thanks. We appreciate it. He says he can't afford the tariff. So he only gave the $5. We appreciate any donation. Remember, all donations go straight back into our channel to support us, to bring a great guest like Mr. Mike Heil down below from LMS Metal Detecting, as well as we've got some other special guests that are going to be coming on. We got a real special one planned coming up either next weekend or the weekend after. I'm not real sure, but we've got another special guest that we're real excited about, and we look forward to sharing his information and his products to you guys, which I think you guys are going to be really impressed with him as well. And of course, we're still waiting on Philippe from XP, and he assures me, "Hey, I'm coming on." When this call is getting ready. I've spoken with him over the last week, and so he assures me that he's going to be on here. He wants to be on this show. He knows that this show is the most technical of all the YouTube shows because we talk about all things metal detecting, and we're on here sharing all this great information. So we're looking so forward to having Philippe on. To talk about that new HF coil, which is coming really, really soon, we hope. And that should be great. Greeny Meanie says that the Vortex should be a great rental. And I'm sure Mike's going to start with that as well, with the Vortex renting it out, as it's great on the beach,
yep.
which is what I saw. If you go watch my beach hunt with it,
Really quiet.
impressed. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is. CZ Digger says, I use a 2-piece extreme scoop. Extreme scoops are very, very good. But Mike's got some really good scoops too. So check Mike out if you're looking for a scoop. The History Digger says, Michael, I can relate to that. He has to show Brian how to run his detectors all the time. Well, I don't know where was that from? Did you see that comment before? I missed it. So History Digger, History Digger's a good friend of mine, by the way, guys, and he's always giving me a hard time, just like I give Michael a hard time. Michael gives me a hard time too. So don't let that fool you, because that that beautiful face over there he can be mischievous at some point too as well. So Ferris Grump says, does the Pro Fortis scoops come with a warranty and how long? Mike, can you answer that question for him?
Yeah, generally we do a 1 year warranty, but we always tell folks if you have any problems, contact us, let us know. We'll make it right.
That's good.
So there you go. You just heard from Mike about the Pro Fortis scoops. Let's see here. We got Prospectors Cash says that he likes our sweeper program, and folks ask about my beach program for the XP-AS2. I shared that. I called it the Hot Beach program. That is one that I use to find the platinum diamond earring, and we shared Prospectors Cash earring last weekend on the live stream. Mike, what do you when you go out on the beach, what settings do you? I know you use the Manicore quite frequently on the beach, but what settings do you run on the Manicore on the beach? Do you mind sharing those with everybody?
Not at all. Generally, I'll run on low conductors, and I'll actually take my recovery speed and reduce it. A lot of people are thinking, what? But I remember with a lower recovery speed, you're really telling that processor and that metal detector that you're really not interested in things that are in close proximity. So you're actually gaining some depth as well. And I'm not a real fast guy as far as swinging, walking real fast down the beach. I tend to take my time, analyze targets a little bit. So having a slower recovery speed on low conductors where I'm matching that conductivity up for that gold uh, tends to be pretty good for me. It really does.
So, Mike, do you tend to hunt more towards the water? Or you hunt in the dry sand? I know you hunt mainly towards the water for the most part, or as close as you can to it. Can you give anybody some beach hunting tips that you maybe would like to share real quick?
Sure, absolutely. The only time I'm really ever in the dry sand, and it's not because it's a bad area to hunt. There's obviously a little more trash and stuff up in the towel line, is what we call it. But generally, the only time I'm up there is when I'm crossing it to get down to the low tide line. We actually will go out about 2 hours before low tide, and I'll hunt the tide line as it's going out. The remaining 2 hours to dead low tide, and during the summer, we always try and tell folks, especially the people that come in to rent as well, and people, always asking questions. They see some of the finds I've had over the years. There's been a lot of rings. I've been very lucky, very fortunate. But we always try and let people know if you were to look at a webcam on a hot day in Myrtle
Right.
Beach, and you notice people in the water waist deep to ankle deep, and it forms a line all the way up and down the beach. And we always tell people, don't worry about the beach being sanded in and all that stuff. You want to be in that line that you're looking at on that webcam at the next low tide cycle, and you really start picking up stuff at that point. Things that are lost. You'll start finding sunglasses. They get
Right.
knocked off the waves. The cell phones falling out of pockets. And we always tell people, if you stay in that area, you're not going to get an extreme amount of targets, every 5 feet, 6 feet. You
Right.
might 25, 35 feet, or even 100 feet before you get your next target. But getting in that area first, 6 hours, and that next low tide cycle, boy, you can really start cleaning up. And
Right.
it's amazing sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I learned a lot when I was with you a lot, hunting on the beach. Of course, Mike likes to go at crazy times. He likes to go in the middle of the night. And I was going like, Mike, this is just crazy. Look, 2 a.m. in the morning. You're crazy. Mike would wear me out getting up at 2 a.m. And I'm an old guy. Mike's a young guy. He can handle that kind of stuff. But yeah, we would go out at 2 a.m. in the morning out on the beach and just have a ball out there hunting. And I would just go back home and I would crash. And Mike would be up all the rest of the day. And I'm like, how the hell did you do that? But
It was a lot of times in the summer I would only make it on 2 hours of sleep. Uh,
I
I'd be
can't.
running. I'd be running to work the next day and doing it again the following night. Sure enough. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Greeny Meanie brings up a good point, Mike, and Mike can relate to this too. less questions at night, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's true.
The problem
Absolutely.
is, Mike wanted to carry me down to Murder Beach, is what we call it. And I'm going like, Mike, there's people out here getting shot. Being out here at 2 a.m. in the morning, I don't know if that's a good thing. But we had a ball, and it was always fun, and I love those times, and those are some great memories of us hunting out on the beach at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. And I'd always meet Mike, and we'd go out and we would hunt, and it was just a fun time. But again, Mike knows his stuff. He has webcams, and he also, if you sign up for his site, he's got a great page on Facebook too, LMS Metal Detecting, and you can sign up for getting the tide information if you're in this area, in Myrtle Beach area. Then he's got a great thing that shows you when the tides are and all that good stuff. So again, check that out if you're interested. Check him out on Facebook at LMS Metal Detecting as well, as he shows a lot of those things as well. And Lance says no thong distractions at 2 a.m. And that's
Lance, I don't know, buddy. I've seen some crazy things at 2 a.m. out there.
We've seen some wild things. You know what really bothers you is when you start digging bullet casings out on the beach, and they're recent bullet casings.
And guns.
That's in Myrtle Beach. So it does happen. It does happen. But again, Mike, again, is a wealth of information for that kind of stuff. And he really keeps up with tides, and he keeps up with, like he said, you can go and watch the webcams. You can see where people are in the water and know that, hey, that could be a spot you might want to go check out as soon as that next low tide comes, especially when it starts getting hot, like Mike said. So those are some great tips for you guys that are beach hunters or, close to the beach. That Mike just gave you some great tips for that. So Bell says, we always prefer to detect the beach at night, and that's the way Mike and I were. We love to detect the beach at night because no distractions. It's cooler, right, Mike?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I have had some nights where I went out with Mike, and I'd come back, my shirt would be drenched. The humidity here is just ungodly, isn't it, Mike?
It is. A lot of people forget too. Dead low tide, the wind sometimes will actually stop. You can stand out on
It
the beach
doesn't
with a
blow.
but as the tide starts coming back in, the winds start picking back up again. Now, not all the time, but a lot of times in the summer, you'll notice that.
Right. Yeah, it's real. It's true. And a lot of people are agreeing with us. My son, Lance says, my son found a 50 caliber casing at Panama City Beach. Yeah, Brian Thomas says, yeah, I find a lot of bullet casings. Now, some of those bullet casings might be from World War II, though. We've dug a bunch of those, haven't we, Mike?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we were throwing them at each other for a while because
you start digging so many. Of course, there's an Air Force base in Myrtle Beach, and they used to fly right over the edge of the beach, and they just spray shells everywhere. And it's really interesting when it comes to that. So Surfside Dan says, one problem at Myrtle Beach is a lot of beach parking has signs that say no parking from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And Surfside Dan's exactly right for those of you that know this area. History Digger says, Prospector's Cache I've detected down in Galveston. Amazing, but you can camp with your RV right on the beach. Good time. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, I've never been down there for sure. So, Mike, let's talk a little bit of relic hunting. So we talked a little bit about beach hunting. Let's talk a little bit of relic hunting stuff, as that's what most of us are into. Of those machines that you have, which ones do you feel like are the ones that you feel the most comfortable with as far as relic hunting goes?
Now you're talking to me or Michael?
Yeah, to you, Mike. Mike High.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Once again, Manicore for relic hunting. I love that machine. I really love it. The Deus 2 is a great machine. It is. It's hard to put down sometimes, but generally speaking, I'll grab the Manicore. I don't know why. Maybe it's the tones. Maybe it's just the user interface on it. I just like Mind Lab machines, but that doesn't mean one's better than the other by any means of the way.
No, definitely. Definitely not. And we've talked about that a good bit, as far as what these machines will do and so on. But I of course I use the Deus 2, which is, my preferred machine out on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, relic hunting. And I like the audio of the Deus 2, but I'm telling you, there is no sweeter sound than a Mind Lab machine over silver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just got that sound. And, the one thing that I love about the Mind Lab machines is the audio. And I mean, I like the audio of the Deus too, don't get me wrong, but I like the audio of the Mind Lab machine as it's just got a more pleasant feel to it
Right.
in a lot of cases. What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, one of the things I honestly that steers me towards the Manicore is the larger screen on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just the buttons actuate easier. And now this is just me. I've had a lot of problems with my right hand with nerve damage and whatnot, and just pressing the buttons on the Deus 2 is a little more uh, difficult for me than
Yeah.
just tapping the other buttons. And there's a reason for that. It's obviously a dive machine at 60 feet. Those buttons, you can obviously lock the
Harder to
screen.
put.
Yeah, you can lock it down to where those buttons don't depress automatically for diving at those depths. But
Right.
they are actually a little bit harder to actuate the button itself. So with just changing sensitivity levels real quick, things like that, changing things, it's just easier for me on the Manicore. But that's just me personally. That wouldn't really
Yeah.
make a difference to a lot of other people because they obviously have a lot of strength in their
Right.
hand, a lot more than I do. So
Well, and I've made this argument quite a few times. I don't think that either one's any better than the other. I
no,
tend to lean more towards the Deus 2 right now for
yeah,
various reasons, mainly because I'm more familiar with the audio. I love being able to adjust and set and play around with the settings and so on. But I like the screen of the Manicore. I love being able to see that. And Dan and I actually did a test the other day. No, we were struggling digging those little lead balls. Michael knows what I'm talking about. Michael, you like those little lead balls out there in that field?
We dug a bunch of them.
Yeah. How many do you think we dug, Michael?
Uh, I can't even. I don't even know. I mean, we've dug a ton of them. Mike, what cord do you use for relic hunting with your Manicore? Do you use the M9?
actually, most of the time I'm running the stock 11-inch coil. I like to challenge myself with target separation and setting the machine up with a stock coil. And then one of the reasons I do that mainly is because I'm getting a lot of questions every day on the phone and with people, that have just bought the machine and learning it. And I can relate to what they're doing with an 11-inch stock coil, and I can help them with target separation settings, stabilizer settings, stuff like that. So most of the time when I have the Manicore out, whether I'm in heavy iron or whatnot, even out on the beach, I'm still running the 11-inch core.
That'll bring us into our tip of the week, Brian.
Oh, yeah. You ready for the tip of the week?
Yeah.
Mike, we have a special tip of the week from the Sasquatch himself, Mr. NC Relic Hunter. Let's get that tip of the weekend. We still got a few minutes since we had a delay in our start. So we're going to throw that tip of the weekend right now. Let's hear Michael's tip of the week. Here it comes from Mr. NC Relic Hunter. Let's hear what he's got to say. All right, Michael, take it away. Here we go.
I was just coming to you this week with our tip of the week. My tip of the week this week is to, try to choose your coil size by the site you're hunting. If you're hunting beaches, you may want to go with a larger coil to cover more area or large fields. But as far as hunting in iron, these new coils with adjustable reactivity, it's kind of closed the gap on, in the past you had to go with a small hockey puck coil or a smaller coil to get the same separation you can get with these larger coils now with the fast separation like the Deus 2 and the Manicore and the Legend, triple score, Vortex. this fast recovery speed has really helped out. You can use a larger coil hunting in the iron and do just fine. But as far as more ground to cover, I like to go with a larger coil, like hunting beaches or fields, And hunting in iron, I tend to go with around a 9-inch coil. That's kind of the sweet spot for me hunting in iron. But I just wanted to share that with everyone. Thanks.
Okay, there he is, the tip of the week from Mr. NC Relic Hunter. Thank you, Mike.
Well, like Mike was saying, you can take that 11-inch coil, with the reactivity on these machines. Now, you don't have to go, the older machines, you had to go to a small coil, but you can adjust these, 9, 11-inch coils, and you can hunt in the iron just as good as, a small coil, in my opinion. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. But I will want to explain one thing about that. The smaller coils, the MA coil, the 9-inch coil, or even the 9-inch coil on the DS2, smaller coil, much, much more sensitive to small targets as well.
Right.
So with that
And
being
weight,
said,
too. I love that DM9 coil. It's a great coil.
the last time I had the MA coil on the Manicore, I was really kind of surprised at some of the very, very small brass copper targets that were coming up that really had a great signature on them, where I thought I was over a button or something like that. And the one happened to be a BB. It is surprising to me. So smaller coils, some of those really tiny targets can stand out really, really well.
Right.
With an 11-inch coil and all your filters set up properly and everything. Some of them, it just doesn't have as good a sound as a real small target. You'd think it might be bigger, that sort of thing. But it's always nice to be able to understand that machine and be able to adjust it on the fly in those situations to where you're not walking all the way back to your truck for another coil. So,
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
So Zapper's got a good question, Mike, and I think all of us can answer this question. But is recovery speed slow as a turtle with the Manicore like the Elite is? You want to answer that, Mike? How?
As far as slow as a turtle, well, I always if I'm on a relic site that's got a lot of colonial nails and whatnot, I actually will run that recovery speed up rather high, either 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I do real well with it like that. And I've really never noticed a big loss in depth at all.
Right.
So as far as running that recovery speed down, like on the beach that I was talking about, I do notice a difference in depth, it seems like to me. And I recently started doing that last year. Just at the end of the season, the beach season is where I really started lowering that recovery speed down to 5, 6. Now, keep in mind as well, if you're on that tide line and you're lowering your recovery speed, you might start hearing some more chatter on that machine. But it's one of those things where if you slow down a little bit, you're still getting that depth back. And that's important on the beach a lot of times, especially in off season, because there's not a lot of things being lost during the day. Fresh drops is what we call them. So you're really trying to get as much depth as you can when you're out on the beach and it's not peak season, or you're, leading into peak season or leading out of peak season. Depth really is important at that point on the beach.
Well, Mike, I've run my recovery down on that Manicore as low as 4.
Yep.
And I've had great success, even in the iron, running as low as 4. Now, normally, if I get in a lot of thick iron, I will probably go up to 6 or 7, just like what you were saying. But I've seen it get away with even 4 on that Manicore. So I don't know that the Manicore is really that slow. And I've run some tests on it out here in my test garden and on the blocks. And I'm telling you, the Manicore is pretty fast, even with the lower recovery, much like the DS2 that I've seen. And it's been phenomenal. And like I said, I can show a test of that Manicore running over these square nails elevated above a dime or a nickel or whatever it may be. and it does really, really well. It's actually quite surprising, as just like what Greeny Meanie was saying. Running it a little bit slower and running that recovery. Is it as fast? Well, I think it is somewhat fast, even at a recovery of 4. Now, I think once you drop below 4, then you do start to see some of the separation capabilities start to disappear, or at least that's what I've seen from the tests that I've done. So, I don't know.
6 or 7 is surprisingly deep, with
yes,
the M9 or the 11. I mean,
yeah, the M9 coil is just unbelievable as far as the depth that you can still get with a 9-inch coil on that manicore. And then if you run that sensitivity up a little bit more, then you can get some really extreme depth with the manicore. From what I've seen, Mike, what do you think? I mean, I know you said you really don't run the M9 that much, but what kind of depth are you seeing out of the manicore?
Extreme. There's been a couple. There's been a couple times here recently, actually, when I've had it out, where you're looking at the depth meter, you're trying to gauge about where you think it's at, and you dig your plug, and next thing you know, you're digging. You got your shovel back out again. 10 inches, 12 inches plus on medium-sized coin-sized targets. I'm seeing things real deep a lot of times. So it really is a deep machine. The 9-inch coil is an awesome coil, like you just said.
Right.
It does have a lot of depth on that coil still.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
it's one of our best selling accessories right now. The M9 coil still flies off the shelf. Matter of fact, we have a hard time keeping them in stock sometimes.
Well, and we know why that is, because you take that 9-inch coil, you get great depth, and then you take it and you can stick it in the water, and it doesn't have the drag that the 11-inch will have in the water. For those guys that are beach hunting or river hunting or whatever, it's just, to me, it's the perfect storm. I mean, it's the perfect coil for that machine, and it balances that machine out so well from what I've seen. And I really like that. Zapper says, hey, you can turn down the XP and get deep too. You sure can. You can run that XP down to 1 and get unbelievable. I've even run that XP down to 0 on reactivity and get some fantastic super depth. And you're still not giving up a ton in recovery speed in some cases. Now, 1 is probably where you would like to ideally. I wouldn't recommend running it at 0, but running it at 1 or 2, you're still going to get some fantastic depth with the reactivity set that low, and you get some separation, which is phenomenal with that machine as well, with the XP machine. And again, I've done that. The only thing is I have a hard time pinpointing when I do that too. It's like, you slow that and here that target is way the heck over here versus, when you run that recovery, because I'm used to using a faster recovery, but you can run it down a little bit slower, and you're still going to get some great separation that you might not see on a lot of other machines for sure. So that's just one of those things. Prospector's Cash says reactivity below 1 on the beach on DS2 gives insane depth with salt. Yeah, I set my salt sensitivity at 7 too. Prospector's Cash, you're exactly right. Let's see here. We've got Ferris Grump says, I like to run my DS2 at 1, knowing it will start to chatter near the salt water. Yeah, I've run it at 1. I've run it at 2. I've run that salt sensitivity up a little bit higher than 5, sometimes 7, like Prospector's Cash just said, and it worked really, really, really well. Bill says, Brian Thomas, a lot of times that happens to me and my husband, we keep looking because it's usually a coin, right? So, yeah, it's some of these targets can be extreme depth. You're not going to get the perfect VDI, and you may not get the perfect audio sometimes on some of these deep signals. Mike, you can attest to that. Tell them a little bit about on the beach, swinging over a really deep target, what you might see out of some of these machines, since you're familiar with the manicore. Tell them what you might see on a really deep gold ring for some of these guys that are just, getting used to their Manicore, their Deus 2? Sort of explain that to them.
Well, you can actually start getting into a scratchy situation where if you're right near the threshold on depth, and some of that stuff can be, and you just really start getting a squirrely signal. We really recommend checking a lot of those. Of course, it's tough in the heat of July when there's a ton of signals out there. But
Right.
I've actually had quite a few targets in my experience, even with a Manicore, where it didn't sound great, but it was a low conductor. I could tell that, and I just went ahead and dug it because standing there might as well, and end up with a gold ring and shocked that man that did not sound like gold to me. And so digging some of those iffy signals at real deep target depths
Right.
can be beneficial for sure. You can't always just write it off saying it's not a repeatable tone every time, moving on, that sort of thing. But, if you did have the strategy of there was a lot of targets out there on the beach, due to the so many people being on the beach that day, it might be beneficial to skip it and move on and listen for those better targets.
Right.
Obviously, you don't have to dig as deep, so it's a strategy thing as well. But
Yeah, and it turns into a time versus effort type thing too in
it
some cases
most
as well.
certainly
How
does.
much time you want to put into digging a 2-foot hole?
Absolutely.
Like you and I are both familiar with that, with digging those 2-foot holes out on the beach. And
Oh yeah.
that wet sand's not lightweight, by the way, either, guys.
And I will tell you another real quick beach tip that a lot of people overlook is if and remember when I'm out, I'm generally out there late at night when they're dragging the beach and cleaning the beach. And there's one thing I've noticed over the years with those machines that drag the towel line to make it
Right.
nice and pretty and manicured for people in the in the morning, manicured. I mean, but is a lot of times that machine actually is not picking up a lot of stuff in that towel line up there. It's more leveling the beach than it is actually cleaning the beach. So
Right.
we've
Right.
noticed before a lot of coins, even after the machines come through, coins, necklaces, stuff like that are still very near the surface. But what we have noticed a lot is they're actually moving stuff drastically, and we've seen this from the recoveries where people call us and say, "I lost my ring here. Can you come get it for us? Find it." And sometimes, if those machines have come through at 2 a.m. in the morning, they might move the ring 2, 3, 4, 500 feet down the beach, dragging it in low areas. So keep in mind if you're out on the beach this summer and you see a low area on the beach, a pocket area, when they're dragging the beach at night, they're actually trying to fill in those low areas as well, which means they're dropping a lot of stuff in that low area. So they're really good spots to check when you start seeing that low area disappear. The machines are actually dumping it there as well.
Oh, wow. That's a great tip, Mike. And I know
Yeah.
people will appreciate that for sure.
And
Um,
I've been shocked before sometimes where I'll go into that low area, up on the towel line or very near the towel line where a part of the bank might be eroding away, where I was out there 2 nights before, get up there and just be shocked. I'll pull out 3, 4, 5 rings in one area, one small area where they've actually just kept dumping the sand in there, trying to build it back up some. So that's something to think about.
Yeah. Prospectors Cash says, thank God they don't use the beach cleaning on the beaches I detect. Good tip, Mike, on the beach cleanup. Right. And again, Mike knows his stuff. He goes out on that beach and went out there a bunch when he and I used to hunt. And I know he knows what's going on. And those beach cleaning machines are definitely moving targets. And look for those low spots, like Mike said. I think that those spots are going to be some spots where you can find some of those targets after those machines have sort of moved through that area. So, Mike, tell them some other deals. I know we talked about the Manicores at $12.99 right now. What are some other deals that you got going on with Nata? I know we mentioned Garrett. Just go back over that real quick, and anything with XP that you have that's going on right now that people might can get involved with and might be interested in at this point.
Absolutely. The XP, the DS2 right now, I'd have to look on the website, but I do believe it's the 11-inch coil package, full package. We're still giving away a free MI6 pin pointer with that.
Okay.
We have a lot of them in stock, so we're still running that sale.
Mike,
We're
what
like,
is the price? What is the price on your XP-2 with 11-inch coil and the MI6 right now for that package?
let me
Do you
see
know?
here. Don't remember right off the top of my head. Let me pull it up here real quick. But also, Mind Lab is still running. They've done it now. This is the third month for the Xterra Elite and the Xterra Pro Pack with the free Profine 40. We're still doing that. The Legend, we're still giving away the free AccuPoint with the Legend purchase as well. And let me see here. The full package is 1449 for the Deus 2 full package, and that 9-inch core, 11-inch core, 11 to
What
13.
headphones come with that, Mike?
We have options on there. You can actually do a headphone bundle option and choose what headphones you want at a little bit of a discount, or basically the full package would come with the WS6 headphones, that sort of thing.
Right.
But we try and really steer a lot of people to the RC to kind of build your own package. And a lot of folks get confused with the RC unit because they're not sure what accessories are go with what headphones and all that. So we spend a lot of time on the phone or with people in the store itself, showing them all your different options. So you're not getting a set of headphones that you not necessarily want. You're getting sort of building the package to your particular needs, that sort of thing. You can save some money like that because we have seen a lot of folks that buy the full package and it's not, oh, I don't know, a month, 2 months, and they're coming back in getting the XL headphones as well because, you know, it just doesn't come with a package. You got to buy them separately unless you bundle them.
Right.
So,
Right. Prospectors Cash has a great question. He says, Mike, do you carry any prospecting supplies? I know Mike used to live up in North Carolina that was close to some of that. Do you carry any prospecting stuff, Mike?
we don't. We're going to start carrying it this fall. We've looked into it, and we just didn't see the need originally being this close to the beach. But as time goes on, I keep getting more and more requests for it. I don't know if that's because we do decent discounts all the time, but we're getting a lot more requests for it. So we're going to start carrying a whole lot more gold accessories for XP. My lab stuff as well, the gold panning stuff. So yeah, look forward to that coming soon.
Right. And I know that you can still get any of that stuff though, right, Mike? If you wanted to order it, I mean,
Oh, sure,
they could still come and ask you about it, and you could order it for them though, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we have access to all that stuff. We just don't stock the gold stuff now. Some of the gold machines as well, like Mine Labs, the Gold Monster 1000, stuff like that. All that stuff is in stock. Even the high end gold machines, we do stock some of those still. But just the gold accessories and pan kits and stuff like that, the sniffers, we need to stock it. We just haven't in the past, but we're going to be soon. So
Good. That's awesome. Mike, Michael, Michael Coley. I got two mics on here, so that's a lot of fun tonight. So Michael Coley, you got a question for Mike Howell real quick? There's something you've been thinking about? You look like you were thinking about something.
No, I mean, I was, he's a knowledgeable guy. I know he uses the Manicore a lot. And what kind of settings do you use, or what program do you use, Relic and Mike, for the Manicore?
low conductors again.
Yeah,
Most of the time, that's
that's
where
what
I'm
we use.
looking for those buttons, the old copper coins and stuff like that. That's my deal. And high conductors are fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Uh, the low conductors, when you really slow down with that machine, you can hear a lot more things that you can miss with high conductors. So we always
right.
tell people, by all means, if you hit that site, and once again, it's a hunting technique. If you've got, 16, 10 acres that you need to cover because you've driven 4 hours, 5 hours to get there, and you're not going to be able to go back again for another month, maybe, by all means, switch over to high conductors, move a lot faster. You're not going to miss things. Uh, real badly if you're moving quick like that. But if you've got the time, slow down, throw that machine on low conductors and slow way down, and you'd be surprised at the things that you're missing by moving too quickly. So low conductors, slow and low.
Yeah, low conductor, and that's what Mike and I, Michael Coley and I use quite frequently is all terrain low conductors. Works very well for us, and you guys have seen what I've dug with the Manicore running all terrain low conductors, and that's what Mike's recommending too. And I watched Mike dig a Civil War engineers button, a Confederate engineers button, which is just almost unheard of. And then I watched him turn around and dig a New York seal button, Civil War seal button, all in the same day, and or in this a couple of days later, and was running that Manicore like a champ. What you dug something else that day too, Mike? What else did you dig? I know you dug a New York button, but then you dug something else with it.
I think there was a couple Eagle buttons that came up as well. But you're right. It was a really good day. I had quite a few.
Yeah, I remember.
So I don't know. I don't remember what else it was. I remember the engineer button was kind of a highlight of the day for me. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of good stuff that came out, and it's worth mentioning as well. That's a site that's been hit very, very hard.
Exactly.
So you really slow down and take your time. You'll start noticing that things are being missed, and that's just the nature of metal detecting. It seems like it's very difficult to hunt a site out. Quoting that terminology here a lot, it's hunted out. Well, I'll tell you, it's really difficult to do that sometimes.
It's never hunted out. You and I both know that. Michael Coley knows that as well. That it's, you can go back, and this is something that we've been stressing to a lot of people on here. You can go back with a different machine, different settings. If you have that opportunity to go back to a site, try those things, because those things can reveal some targets that you might not have hit the first time going through it. And going through with different settings or different machines, sometimes that just changes things up for you. And of course, you may be swinging a little bit different, or you may, hit the right angle on some of these targets. And of course, Mike Howell knows that as well. I mean, I've seen him go into sites too that have been hunted, and he finds things that people missed. And speaking of things that people miss, there's one find that I want to share tonight, because it was a special find made by our own Mr. Surfside Dan. So I want to share that real quick. And this is what Surfside Dan got the other day on a site that we had already gone through a few times, and it was a Rosa Americana coin. Mike, he dug that on a spot where we had walked over a few times running the Mind Lab Manicore, and he got this beautiful Rosa Americana. This coin dates from 1722 to 1733 is the date on that coin. And of course, it's not in the best of shape, but it's still an amazing find.
Yeah,
and, extremely super excited to dig that coin, and just an amazing find by Surfside Dan. And we were excited to see him dig that. And but again, it's a site that we had hunted a few times. Dan went in with some different settings, different approach, and here he is. He found a really rare coin that you just don't see here in the South. Mike, have you ever seen that coin before?
No, actually, Dan had told me about it, and I told him, I said, "What coin did you find?" And he's like, "Exactly." He says, "It's very rare. Most people have never even heard of it." And I'm like, "I'm not sure I have." But he sent me pictures of it and everything. And I'll tell you, the last time I hunted with Dan, he was dialed in. Dan was doing real good with that Manicore. He was really nailing some stuff.
And if you go watch my last video, I put Dan up on the video, and he digs this coin, and I was calling it the Hoodoo Voodoo program, because he said it was working some sort of special magic, Well, I tried to run those settings, and I couldn't do as good as Dan did running those settings. So I went and grabbed my Deus 2. I said, "I'm done with this. I'm going to get my Deus 2." But Dan did unbelievable, and he dug about 6 coins six buttons in that same area along with this coin, and it was just it's an impressive find. And again, I wanted to share that with everyone because that's something that you just don't see, especially down here in the South, is a Rosa Americana. And for those of you that don't know, that coin was specifically made by the guy that created the Woods Hibernia, and it was made specifically for the colonies during that period. And it does have a lot of lead and nickel in it, and I think that's why it held its shape a little bit, versus some of the copper coins that we dig quite often. And it's a rare find. So shout out to Surfside Dan for digging this amazing find. The other find that I wanted to share, and I didn't get a chance to share it, was this beautiful mallet bottle that one of our good friends and followers and subscribers, Mr. Keith Nixon, got. And, those bottles are just so special from the 1700s. And to find one fully intact the way that he found this one is extremely special. And he's a good friend of mine. Michael knows him as well. And we wanted to share this from Keith, that beautiful mallet bottle. And that is a beautiful specimen that he found there. And I know he's excited to add that to his collection.
Sure is.
For sure. Of course, we love all things history and all things relics. And we wanted to share Keith's find, Mr. Keith Nixon. He lives up in North Carolina. And he shared that with us. And we wanted to share that as well. Mike, have you ever seen that type of bottle before? You ever seen anybody dig one of those?
I actually have, but it's been a long time ago, and it was off the coast of North Carolina. It was in Wilmington. It sure was. It was in brackish water, so it wasn't right on the coast. It was back in the swamp areas. But very, very, very difficult to find one of those that have not been broke, or just the bottleneck itself.
Right.
To find it full one piece like that.
Well, you guys can see my bottles back here in the back. I have one of those exact same bottles back here behind me, and super excited that I have that bottle. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't find it. You know who found it? This is the guy that I put in that picture, Mr. Keith Nixon, gave me that bottle behind me it's got a hole in the back. So I'll admit it, it's not fully intact. It's got a hole in the back of it, but I really appreciated him sharing that bottle with me as well. So Keith is an unbelievable diver and metal detectors, and we wanted to share his find because he's a very good friend of mine and a very, very knowledgeable person. We need to get Keith on here one night too, Mike.
Yeah. He's found a lot of good stuff.
He's been doing this for 40 years. So this guy's like a wealth of knowledge too. So again, we need to get him on here. So maybe we can do that. But those bottles are just unbelievable. And I love anything 1700s. I know Mike Heil likes anything 1700s. Mike, have you dug what's something recently that you dug that you've been really impressed with?
Well, recently, I had the 11-inch coil on the Manicore and got a signature that slowed me down. And I thought, I'm just going to go for it and go in, and broke the hole open and pulled out a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous bolt. Or actually not a bolt, but a nut. It was 2 inches square with a 3/4 inch hole through it. A great big chunk iron, big nut. And I got back up from the hole after filling it in and checked it. And there was something being masked.
Still there.
Exactly. I went back in the hole and pulled out a King George II. Beautiful shape.
Yeah. And those King George IIs, I don't know if any of you guys saw my last video. I dug a King George II. That thing looked like garbage. But I knew it was a King George. I could see him facing to the left. And so I was going like, I dug a King George II. I've dug 2 King George IIs over the last couple of years, and they all came out crappy looking. So for Mike to say he dug one that was in pretty good shape, that's a big accomplishment because those coins are hard to find in good shape. and King George II was replaced with King George III in 1760. So those coins were made prior to 1760. So they're very old coins for sure. But most of them that come out of the ground usually don't come out in very good shape, do they, Mike?
No, they don't. I've dug some in my time, and this one actually was in pretty good shape. I was able to get a date off of it. I do believe it's 1734, I think is what was on.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I don't know if you saw this, but Michael Coley over here dug a Nova Constellation coin. Have you seen one of those?
Me?
Yes, Mike Howell.
Yeah, actually I have. I sure have. It's really, really cool.
That rascal over there dug one on a site that I have gone over before too. So he got this thing was beautiful. I'm talking about beautiful. And he was able to retrieve that coin, and that's just an unbelievable find. And and luckily for me, Surfside Dan was with me when I dug a USA Continental Army button, and that, to me, that's the thing that I've been looking for my entire life. And luckily, Surfside Dan was with me when I dug that coin. But I've also dug a couple of British Rev War buttons as well. And I just love the 1700 stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Civil War stuff too, but I don't know, there's just something about Rev War stuff to me.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I've got a British Cannonball back there, a 6-pounder, which I've dug, and really love that as well. So yes, this is a good one. How can I get a Rudis Versa in the States? Mike, you want to answer that question, Mike Howell?
What was the question? I didn't hear.
How can you get a Rudis Versa in the States?
Probably with a little bit of money and a little bit of time.
Have you seen a Rudis Versa, Mike?
No, actually I haven't.
You do know what it is, though, right?
No, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, it's a European machine that's made over in Poland. Yeah.
Right.
And so I had one. Michael had one too. And we actually used them. They're actually really good machines. And but you can't get them here in the United States. They're only sold in Europe. They will not sell them here in the U.S. And a lot of people still ask about them. And I've used it, and it is a good machine. It really is. I mean, it holds its own.
Never used one, but I have heard of it before, but not to any detail of how good they were, or bad, or anything negative or positive. But it's one of those things where something like that, getting it into the States probably would be difficult. But
possible. Well, the problem is though, Mike, when you get something like that, you have no warranty. You just don't have the things that you have with all the regular machines that we can buy here in the United States. So why would you buy that machine and not have a warranty and not be able to get it serviced and all of that? But there are people that really want them.
And I do believe that they're actually handmade. A lot of time goes into making one of those machines, I think, if I remember right.
There's another machine that's made over there called the Nexus, and there's one of the guys that's on here that was on here a few minutes ago. He has the Rudis and the Nexus, and it's a machine that's also handmade by the owner, and they're single frequency machines. They're knob jobs, but a lot of people swear by them over in Europe, and they love them. And if you buy them, then they really are impressed with them as far as what they can do. And the coil determines the frequency, I believe, in a lot of those machines as well. With the Nexus, I know. Now with the Rudis, not so much, but the Nexus, it definitely does that. But yeah, there's some interesting things out there, especially over in Europe. So, but again, Surfside Dan says that was a hot day on that day that I found those US. I was drenched in sweat, but it didn't stop me. I dug that USA button, and I was on cloud 9. I wasn't worried about how hot it was. So Prospector's Cash says, I know you are a dealer for Garrett, MindLab, XP, and Nocta. Do you carry any other brands? Do you carry anything else, Mike, other than the 4 main manufacturers?
Nope, that's it. That's all we carry. We talked about carrying Fisher for a while, but I'm kind of waiting for Fisher to get caught up on some technology. And not saying that Fisher's a bad machine; they're great machines, but we haven't decided on going with Fisher yet. So that's a possibility, though.
Yeah. Frank Diggs 72 wants to know, why can't we get them? Well, you can't get them because Rudis has said they're not going to sell to the United States.
Right.
You have to take that up with Rudis. That's all I can tell you. If you want one, you might have to get somebody over and find a friend over in Europe, and maybe they can grab you one. But as far as I know, that's the deal, and they're not going to sell here in the United States. They don't want to. They don't want the U.S. market for whatever reason. So again, that's them, and that's all I can tell you at that point. Brian Thomas, who's one of our local guys, says, guys, can you tell us more? There we go. About the WM09. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show, Mike,
Yep.
for the Manicore. I'm really wanting to get some info before I buy it. So, Mike, fill them in about the WM09 module for the Manicore. And basically, guys, if you don't know what the WM09 is, it is a module that you can connect to the Manicore, and it'll allow you to connect wirelessly. And you can plug in any type of headphones that you like. If you want the lightweight earbuds, if you want full size waterproof headphones, if whatever you like, you can plug into the WM09. The only problem is the WM09 is not waterproof. So again, Mike, tell them a little bit about the WM09.
Yeah, it's basically a bridge for, like you just said, any 1/8-inch adapter headphones, wired headphones, and the O9 module mounts on your body somewhere in your pocket, mounted on your hat or whatnot, and you're plugging in your wired headphones to the module. And the goal here is no latency. So if you're using the module paired to the Manicore at that point, or the Equinox 700, 900, the Elite. It goes with all those machines, even the Xterra Pro. But no latency at that point. So you can really choose your headphones at that point and run a bridge from yourself to the metal detector and be wireless at that point. So
Right.
that really helps out when the temperatures are hot. You really do want to use some earbuds and that sort of thing. You have that option.
Right. So, and I agree with you, Mike. I think they're a lot faster than the regular headphones, the wireless headphones, and I think they're quicker.
Yeah,
Do
there's
you
no
do you find it to be that way?
I haven't noticed a difference, but there is absolutely no latency at all using it. I do know that, where
Right.
I've seen stuff before, especially with jumping back to the Equinox 800. We'll just use that as an example. That Bluetooth or the Legend Bluetooth technology with those metal detectors. A lot of people are trying to save a little bit of money and buy on Amazon low latency ATPX,
Right.
and some of the times people are buying these units and they're getting latency. They just don't realize it until they get on a site where there's a lot of targets, things in close proximity, and that's where you really start picking up on it. But it's one of those things where MindLab had kind of done away with that Bluetooth chip technology, and giving people the option of using the module to use any headphones without any latency at all. It's really kind of a good thing to bridge that gap where they're only offering 2 wireless devices that will actually hook up to that machine wirelessly. Hopefully, we'll get some more options soon with MindLab on that.
Right. So Brian Thomas wants to ask too, Mike. He says, "How's the sound? Is it louder in some cases? What do you think about the sound versus the regular wireless headphones?"
It's about the same. I wouldn't say it was any louder. It's definitely not any quieter. You're not losing any audio quality by any means.
Depends
it
on
all
what headphones you use, I
Yeah.
guess, right? Mike?
Exactly. Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
a lot to do with the headphones that you're using as well. I would assume, very inexpensive little tiny set of earbuds that you're putting in there. You're probably going to lose a lot of audio quality at that point. Uh, where again, if you were using, some Gray Ghost headphones or something with a,
Right. So,
higher quality sound decibel coming out of them would probably make a big difference as well.
so Mike, do you carry the Gray Ghost headphones?
Yeah, we sure do. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, again, if you're looking for Gray Ghost headphones, which are top-notch headphones for sure, Mike has those too. So you can check him out. If you're thinking about you need some over-the-ear headphones and want something to hook up to that WM09, then check Mike out. You can go over there and grab a pair of those headphones. They're pretty good noise canceling too, as well,
Yep.
right, Mike?
They absolutely are. And by the way, for the XP Deus 2, we carry Grey Ghost headphones for that machine as well.
Right. So
Yep.
Brian Thomas says, thank you so much, Mike. He said, I'll be calling you soon to grab one. So there you go, Mike.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Prospectors Cash says, a friend of mine has hearing problems and he uses the WM09 with low latency bone conductor headphones, which does
Yeah.
go through the ear and it touches the bone. So he's saying they're really loud
Yep.
for sure. Greeny Meanie says, I always use the Ghost headphones. And again, Mike sells those too. They're great set of headphones. Tony Eisenhower headphones. I don't know if Mike carries those or not, but those are great headphones too.
They
You
are
can
good.
hook up to it if you can find a pair of those. But again, all of those headphones are really, really good with that WM09. And then, of course, with it getting hot, a lot of us don't, when we get out on the beach, we don't like to have the big over the ear headphones, even though they're great at noise canceling. Sometimes it's really nice just to put in a pair of those earbuds, plug into those WM09s, and just makes for a more pleasurable experience with the heat and humidity, doesn't it, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. Gary the Goose says, I wish my lab would come out with bone phones like the Deus too. Any bone conductive headphones that you can hook up to
Not,
the
not that I'm,
Mind
not that I'm aware of. No.
Lab? Okay, all right.
And matter of fact, we actually had a customer not that long ago. It's probably been 5 months, 6 months ago. Was very, very difficult for hearing. He was pretty much deaf, to be honest with you,
Right.
and he wanted a metal detector that he didn't have to watch a light or a screen all the time. He wanted some way of feeling it, whether it was vibrate. And the Deus 2 worked out great for him with those bone conductor headphones, mounted on those cheekbones up there. There was no question when he was over a target or he was not over a target.
Yeah,
Very,
those bone conduction headphones are just, I mean, they're bone rattling when people say that. They mean that. It is. It is really, really, really loud. And somebody mentioned this too. Prospectors Cash brings this up too. The Garrett Z Link is fast. It is. And Michael Coley saw that this past couple of weekends ago, how fast those headphones connect with the Vortex. They connect very, very fast. Super, super nice pair of headphones, noise canceling, really good headphones. So if you're looking at the Vortex, get those Z-Link headphones. You're not going to be disappointed as well. Surfside Dan says the Detector Pro Beach Pouch is the best. Mike, what do you have to offer as far as fines pouches and beach pouches and those types of things?
We've got a lot of different options. The Gray Ghost deep pouch just came out. We just started carrying that. Dan actually was asking about that, and I didn't even realize that they had released a deeper version of that pouch. But we're carrying that now as well, and it actually is one of our most popular pouches, whether you're out on the beach hunting or relic hunting. People really like the Gray Ghost pouches as well, but we do carry all the Mind Lab ones, all the Garrett options as well, all the Nocta options. So we've got a bunch of different ones on there. Just hit the accessories button on the website, browse through, and take a look. There's a bunch of them on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Coley, you got any questions for Mike Heil before it's about time for us to get out of here? We've been on here plenty of time now.
Nah, it's been great having him on here. He knows his stuff. I can tell you
Let me
that.
tell you something. This dude knows everything. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I can go to him right now and I can ask him anything about any machine, and he can answer that question. I promise you that. And again, wealth of knowledge, just a super, super person to deal with. And again, if you guys are looking for a machine or you're looking for an accessory or even the most minute type things like the bolts that go into the mine lab coils to secure them down. Mike's got those things, and he can get you anything that you need. Just give him a call. His number's scrolling across the bottom. We'll put his thing up real quick here so you guys can see that. And again, Mike can get you hooked up with any and everything metal detecting related. His stores in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, LMS Metal Detecting.com. His number's there too. You want to give him a shout, talk to him, tell him a little bit about what you're looking for. And I'm sure he can get you hooked up with whatever it is that you need. And he'll steer you in the right direction. And again, good service even after the sale. And that's why we have chosen Mike to be our sponsor and our main dealer for Southern Relic Adventures, because Mike can do all of those things. And Mike is very quick with his shipping. He can get that stuff out to you very fast. And again, if you got any questions, look at his store. Go check out his webpage. We'll put his webpage up real quick one more time before we get out of here. But I think you guys will be really, really, really impressed with what Mike has to offer as far as accessories and machines. He's got it all. And he does a great and fantastic job with all of that stuff. Mike, we really appreciate you taking your time tonight to be with us. Again, it's been fantastic. You've shared some great information that I know a lot of people are extremely excited about hearing, because again, there's a lot of people on here tonight that maybe didn't know a lot of these things that you just shared, as far as machines, as far as beach hunting, relic hunting. You shared a little bit of information there too, and I know people really appreciate those things. And again, if they go check out your website, they're going to find it to be just tons and tons of things to look at, to explore. And again, he's got some special deals. Tell them real quick before we get out of here, Mike, what's your special deal right now? I know it's one of those is on the Vortex. Tell them a little bit about those deals that you have to offer right now in stock.
One of the specials we're running for tonight, and I actually run it tomorrow as well, is the Vortex series, the VX5, VX7, and VX9. We're discounting those 10% off. So just hit the website, enter code CRA for your discount code to get that 10% off on those metal detectors. And anything else that you might want as well, feel free to contact me tomorrow. We're actually open 7 days a week, Sundays and Saturdays. So we're here just about all the time. So just contact me if you're looking for a deal on anything. And by the way, we carry a lot of parts because so many people are coming into Myrtle Beach, hitting the area for not just the beach hunt, but all the relic hunting that is available towards Charleston, down Johns Island. A lot of people from Charleston as well are looking for parts. If they break something, we can try and get them shipped out overnight to you, or obviously if you're close by, stop in. We've got those parts available as well. Just the little stuff. We carry all of it.
Right. And remember, Mike now has in stock the VX5 and VX7 for the Garrett Vortex, which has just been released. Mike, you got a good bit of stock on that, or is it really limited? Can you tell them a little
Actually,
bit about that?
we put them on sale today around, I think it was about 11 a.m. is when they actually went on sale. And we had a pretty decent amount of stock, but through the day, we sold quite a few of them. Matter of fact, just a little while ago, I looked, I've got 5 orders to fill yet tonight that I haven't filled earlier today. So if you're one of the customers that bought something, I'll get that filled as quickly as we can. But I'd have to look on the website to see how many we have left in stock, but we did get a fair amount in. So hopefully there's still at least 5 or 6 in each version. So
Yeah. And the Vortex is, again, I think it's going to be a solid machine, especially on the beach, which you guys know I've run it on the beach and it did fairly well for me. And I think anybody that gets that machine is going to be pleased with the performance of that machine. And they continue to update that machine too, which I think you're going to see some more improvements made to that machine in the near future. And one other thing we want to mention too before we leave is that, remember, these tariffs could impact the price of these machines. So if you are thinking about a machine, now's the time to do it. Go through Mike and get one of those machines. Give him a call and talk to him. Let him know you saw him on Southern Relic Adventures, and let him know, hey, this is what I'm looking for. You guys can tell just from the conversation tonight, Mike is extremely knowledgeable, and he can get you hooked up with anything and everything that you're looking for, and he'll steer you in the right direction. And that's why we have chosen him to be one of our major sponsors and one of our major dealers for Southern Relic Adventures. And he's going to do a phenomenal job for you, I promise. And he's going to get you your product quick and fast as well. So again, we appreciate Mike so much and thank him for being a sponsor of our channel and of our pages, and for being a wonderful contributor to our show as well. So Greeny Meanie wants to know, is there a code for the Manicore? So Mike, if Greeny Meanie calls you, you can talk to him direct, correct?
absolutely, yeah. Generally, what will happen is if we're giving out a special discount or whatnot, we'll give you a unique code that you can use, or just for everyday purpose right now. If you were to hit the website to get a Manicore, the only code that we're using with the $500 discount, because it's on sale, would be a code Take 5, and that code can be used on anything on the website just for an extra $5 off. And again, free shipping with anything over $50.
Right.
If you're looking for something in there and you got that $55 thing, you can still use that code Take 5, get the extra $5 off plus free shipping, and that can make a difference on some of the smalls. Where a lot of people on other sites will, you got a $20 item, next thing you know, they're trying to hit you with $16 in shipping, that sort of thing. That can be tough.
Right. And Mike, you do military discount too, correct?
Absolutely, we sure do. We sure do. We honor Garrett military discount, Monlab military discount, and Nocta's looking at doing it. Now, I don't know after this tariff thing's taken off if they're still considering that, but we might be seeing a Nocta military discount soon.
Hey.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No promises from me. That's up to Nocta. So.
That's up to Nocta. Make it work. Says $1,300 for Manicore. Give Mike a call. Make it work. He can get you hooked up with a Manicore. Just give him a call. Let him know you saw it on Southern Relic Adventures, and Mike will work with you for sure. So definitely check him out.
Let me mention real quick that Minelab does not honor the military discount with the $500 off the Manicore. That is one area that we can't do that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, look, that would be a great discount.
Yeah. I wanted to mention it because every time that Manicore goes on sale like that, we'll field about 7 to 10 calls a day for people asking, can we use a military discount on it? So it's always nice to kind of let folks know. It'd be great if we could, but we just can't. That's too much. Minelab won't allow.
Right. Yep. Yes. God bless our vets for sure. And one last thing too, we mentioned this earlier too. XP said to Mike and I both today, 20% price increase coming on the Deus 2. So if you're thinking about an XP Deus 2, now's the time to get one of those while the prices are still low before that next batch and Mike runs out. Then you definitely want to go ahead and maybe get involved with that too as well. If you are interested in an XP Deus 2, give Mike a call. Let him know you saw it on Southern Relic Adventures, and Mike can get you hooked up with an XP Deus 2. He can get you hooked up with a Manicore. He can get you hooked up with a Vortex. He's got the Not the Legend with the AccuPoint. He's got the Not the Triple Score with that huge bundle package, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's on there too. I actually had forgotten about that, but we should.
Yeah, what a great deal that is too, Mike. And for $499, is it $499 or $479? I can't remember, Mike.
I think it's $4.99. I believe you're
Okay.
right.
$499, and you get a pinpointer, you get a fines pouch, you get a hat, you get 2 coils, and you get a multi-frequency machine that you can take out and start hunting with immediately. So the triple score is definitely one. Michael Coley loves that triple score, don't you, Michael?
Yeah, it's a good machine.
Yeah,
it really is.
But I'm telling you, he really loves the Vortex. Did you see?
I found a lot of stuff with it.
He found a ton of stuff with that Vortex, and he really loved that machine. It really did well for him on our last relic hunt. I enjoyed that hunt. That was so much. Was it not fun, Michael Coley, when we went out there and we
hunted? It was fun. It was great to use a different machine and something a little different than we've been using. I enjoyed it. The machine actually, it balances very well.
Yeah, it is surprisingly balanced very well.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect it to be, but it is. And then once you hold it in your hands, you don't realize, the weight. I mean, it's balanced. That's all I can say about it. And Michael did really well with that Vortex, and I did really well with it. I took it out park hunting and dug 3 silver coins, which, that's pretty good, especially when I don't go park hunting that much.
Probably what, an hour?
Yeah, I was only out there about an hour. I almost got in trouble. Michael Coley almost saw me get in trouble too, because my wife didn't know I was out there metal detecting with the Vortex. And we got home a little bit late, didn't we, Michael Coley? Yeah, but we had a ball. And I'm looking forward to the possibly hunting with Mike Heil this Sunday. Looks like we're going to be out hunting together. And so I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to have a ball. It's just going to be a good time. I love metal detecting. I love being on here with you guys. And thank y'all so much for being here tonight and hanging out with Mr. Mike Heil from LMS Metal Detecting. Again, his information is scrolling across the bottom. If you're interested in anything, check him out. And then we got Mr. Michael Coley, our good buddy that's always on here. We appreciate NC Relic Hunter for joining in tonight. He was a little bit quiet. I don't think he's feeling that good tonight. You feeling okay?
I'm not feeling too good tonight. I don't know what it is.
But that's okay. That's all right. Well, we had a good time, and thank you guys for joining in, and we appreciate you guys. Thank y'all, and we will catch you guys on our next adventure. Check out Mr. Mike Heil at LMS Metal Detecting, and check out our content on Southern Relic Adventures. There's a lot of stuff on there on all these different machines that we just talked about with Mike Heil and with Michael. And go check out that video content that we have up there. Check us out on all the other social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're on all of them. Go check us out over there as well. We've got some great adventures planned for this weekend, and we look forward to sharing some content with you. I've got another video coming up with the History Digger coming up real soon. Check that out. That's going to be coming out real soon. And we look forward to being with you guys real soon. Again, next Friday night on the live stream, as we got another special guest that's going to be joining in with us. And I think you guys are going to enjoy that. And I will be releasing that sometime next week. So be prepared for that. And we appreciate you guys. Take care. Have a fantastic night. We'll catch you guys on our next adventure. See ya.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.